Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about life and death, we are confronted with one of the most profound mysteries that humanity has grappled with since time immemorial. Our hearts want to believe that the end of physical existence is not the end of everything, but in truth, what is death? Is it an absolute end or simply the closing of one chapter in a much larger story? We often ask, can you help someone after they die? This question, while it may sound like a paradox, holds a certain significance. Let us explore the very essence of life and death and understand whether help transcends the physical realm. The first step in answering this question is realizing that our understanding of life is incomplete, clouded by the limited perspectives of our senses. We are so, and perhaps it is within these dimensions that help truly resides. Helping someone after they die is not about bringing them back, but about transcending our own limitations. When someone passes, their body ceases to function, but the energy and the experiences they have accumulated, those do not just vanish. They exist in different forms, in different ways. The help we speak of is not necessarily about offering them something they lack, but perhaps about offering ourselves something more profound, something beyond our egos and material desires. Can you help someone after they die? The answer lies not in your attempt to change their journey, but in how you transform yours. We help others not because they are physically present or absent, but because in helping them, we help ourselves transcend the boundaries of mortality and illusion. Life and death are often seen as opposites, two distinct and separate states. But what if they are not so different? What if life and death are merely 2 points on the same continuum of existence, interconnected in ways that we cannot fully grasp from our limited perspective? We tend to think of life as something vibrant, full of action and possibility, while death is perceived as a cessation, an ending. But consider for a moment, life itself is a temporary state. Each breath we take, each heartbeat, is a momentary expression of the larger forces at work. The body we inhabit is not permanent, and neither are the conditions it experiences. Everything in nature, every living thing undergoes cycles: birth, growth, decay, and eventual death. But these cycles are not interruptions in the flow of life, they are integral parts of it. Death in this context is not an end but a transition. It is a shift from one form of existence to another, a transformation of energy. The body may no longer function, but the essence of a person, the energy they embody, the experiences they've had and the impact they've left behind continues. Energy is never destroyed, only changed. Just as water transforms from vapor to liquid to ice, energy too moves through different forms, never ceasing but simply taking on new shapes and expressions. When we understand death in this way, it no longer appears as a finality, a hard stop. Instead, it becomes a natural part of the ongoing flow of existence, an integral aspect of life. Our understanding of what constitutes life broadens when we accept that death is not a conclusion, but part of the cycle that allows life to continue in new ways. The challenge lies in how we view and experience life and death from our human perspective. We are conditioned to see life as precious and fleeting, and death as a source of grief and loss. We mourn not only the absence of the person, but also the finality of their physical form. Yet, in reality, death does not diminish the significance of life, it amplifies it. For if life were to last forever in its current form, would we value each moment the same way? Would we fully appreciate the fragility, the fleeting nature, the preciousness of every single breath? Understanding the nature of life and death requires us to let go of our limited perceptions and embrace a more expansive view of existence, one that goes beyond the physical, beyond the temporary, and into the realm of energy, consciousness, and interconnectedness. In this broader view, life and death are not opposites, but complementary. Thus, the true nature of life and death may not lie in our ability to distinguish them as separate realities, but in our willingness to see them as part of the same great unfolding story, a story that transcends the boundaries of the physical world and extends into realms that are beyond our immediate understanding. The physical body as we know it is an incredibly intricate and complex system designed to interact with the material world. It allows us to experience life through our senses, sight, touch, sound, taste and smell, and it anchors our awareness in the here and now. It seems real, tangible and, at least for the duration of our lives, irreplaceable. Yet, for all its sophistication, the body is in essence a temporary vessel. We often identify ourselves with the body, believing it to be who we truly are. This identification leads to the misconception that our entire existence is confined to this physical form. We feel its limitations acutely, its need for sustenance, rest, care and protection from external forces. The body ages, becomes ill and eventually breaks down. It reminds us day in and day out of its fragility. Yet, despite all of this, the body remains an essential part of our experience on earth. But when we look beyond the body, we begin to see that it is merely one aspect of our existence. We are not our bodies, even though we often think we are. The body is made up of cells, atoms and molecules that follow the natural laws of physics and biology. It is composed of elements that come from the earth, and when the time comes, it will return to the earth. This process of birth, decay and death is not unique to the human form, but is a fundamental characteristic of all living things. Even while we are alive, the body is limited in ways we often take for granted. Our senses, though powerful, are constrained by their very nature. We can only perceive a narrow range of sound frequencies or light wavelengths, and our bodies are incapable of perceiving the vast majority of the universe's energies and forces. It's about perception, not thought perception, but perception opens wider. We rely on these limited faculties to navigate our reality, but they do not represent the full spectrum of what exists. The limitations of the physical body extend beyond what we can perceive. They are embedded in the very nature of its existence. Furthermore, the body is bound by time. It ages, it grows, and eventually it decays. It is subjected to the forces of entropy, constantly moving toward a state of disorder. No matter how much we try to control it, how much we feed it or exercise it, or how many medical interventions we seek, the body remains limited by the unyielding laws of nature. We cannot escape the fact that it will, at some point, cease to function. This fact is universally true for all beings with a physical form. Yet the body is not our essence. We may think of it as our body, but the body is not who we are at the core. The experience of being alive transcends the physical limitations we so strongly associate with our identity. What gives life to the body is something deeper, something more subtle. Our consciousness, the sense of I, is not bound by the body, even though it temporarily resides within it. This deeper sense of self, which is often called the soul, it perceives, thinks and experiences without being confined by the body's senses or its finite nature. It can expand beyond the constraints of time and space, existing before the body is born and continuing after the body dies. While the body will eventually wear out, this essence, this consciousness remains untouched by age or decay. It is beyond the limitations of the material world and cannot be fully captured by the body's finite capabilities. Understanding the limitations of the physical body is not an exercise in denying its importance or its role in our lives. Rather, it's an invitation to recognize that we are not merely the physical form we occupy. We are the awareness that animates this body, the consciousness that perceives through it. Our identity lies not in the physical, but in the eternal, the part of us that connects us to the vastness of existence itself. When we realize this, we begin to see that the body is just one instrument through which we experience life, but it is not the totality of who we are. This understanding frees us from the grip of physical limitations and allows us to explore the depths of our being where the limitations of the body no longer apply. The world we experience with our five senses, sight, touch, sound, smell and taste, seems to be the entirety of reality. We rely on these senses to navigate the material world, from the texture of a fabric to the warmth of a hug. The material world, in all its forms, is what we can measure, observe and interact with. It feels real and it is undeniably significant in our day-to-day existence. But is this all that exists? If we look closely, there are aspects of our experience that cannot be explained purely by the physical. These are the subtler, often invisible aspects of life. The emotions we feel, the thoughts that arise, the moments of clarity, the sense of connection we sometimes have with others or with nature. These experiences are not something we can touch or measure, yet they are undeniably real. They cannot be accounted for by the material world alone. This is where the non-material dimension comes into play. The non-material dimension is not something external to us. It is within us and beyond us, interwoven with the fabric of existence itself. It is the dimension that transcends the physical, the dimension of consciousness, energy and essence. It is where thoughts and feelings, intuition and wisdom exist in their purest forms. It is where the unquantifiable aspects of life reside, and it is equally as significant, if not more so, than the material world. Consider the experience of a thought. It is not something we can hold in our hand or even directly observe with our eyes, yet a thought has immense power. It can shape our decisions, our actions, and even our reality. Similarly, emotions like love, compassion or joy, though intangible, have the power to transform us and the people around us. These are not material things, but they have a profound impact on the way we live and experience the world. The non-material dimension is also where our deepest sense of self resides. While the body is a physical form, the consciousness, the awareness that observes the body and all its experiences is not confined to the material. It is beyond the limitations of time, space and form. It does not age or decay with the body, it is eternal. This awareness, this presence is the essence of who we are. It is the source of our thoughts, our perceptions and our capacity to experience the world. It is not bound by the physical constraints that the body is subject to. This dimension is also where we experience interconnectedness. Our relationships with others are not only physical or material, they are energetic and non-material. When you connect deeply with another person, when you share a meaningful moment, you are not merely exchanging physical sensations, you are exchanging energies, thoughts and feelings that transcend the material realm. This bond between individuals is invisible yet incredibly real. It is the non-material dimension at work. The non-material dimension also has its roots in the cosmos. The very energy that holds the universe together, the forces that drive the creation and destruction of stars, the flow of the seasons, the balance of nature is non-material. It is what gives life to the physical universe, just as the invisible force of gravity governs the movement of planets. This dimension is vast, immeasurable and eternal. It is the backdrop against which all of creation plays out, and it flows through every living being, every atom, every moment. While the material world is governed by the laws of physics and science, the non-material dimension operates by different principles, those of consciousness, energy, and it is a realm that cannot be fully understood through the lens of the physical sciences alone, because it operates in a way that defies quantification. Yet its presence is felt in every aspect of life. It is the force behind our thoughts, our intentions and our actions. It is the realm of the intangible that shapes the tangible. When we become attuned to this non-material dimension, we begin to see the world not just as a collection of physical objects, but as a living, interconnected web of energy and consciousness. We recognize that we are not isolated beings, but part of a much larger flow, and that everything in existence is deeply connected at the level of energy and consciousness. As such, this understanding opens up new possibilities for how we engage with the world, how we relate to others, and how we understand our place in the universe. The non-material dimension invites us to go beyond the surface, to look deeper and to explore the subtler forces that guide our lives. It asks us to move beyond what we can see and touch and to understand that the invisible, the intangible, the unmeasurable is just as real, if not more so, than the material world. It is the dimension of the eternal, the infinite and the boundless, and it is where the true essence of who we are resides. As we reflect on the nature of life and death, the limitations of the physical body and the vast unseen realms of existence, we come to realize that our true essence lies beyond what we can touch or see. While the physical world is undeniably significant in shaping our experiences, it is the non-material dimension, the dimension of consciousness, energy and interconnectedness, that holds the key to understanding who we truly are. In this grand web of existence, life and death are not separate, but part of a continuous flow. The body, with all its limitations, is simply a vehicle for our deeper consciousness to experience the world, and even after the body fades, the essence of who we are continues, ever present in the energetic and conscious realms. We are more than our physical form. We are the awareness that perceives, the energy that moves, and the interconnected being that links all of life together. When we begin to embrace this large reality, when we transcend the boundaries of the physical and touch the non-material dimension, we unlock the profound potential within ourselves to experience true peace, unity and freedom. So, the next time you ponder whether you can help someone after they die, remember this: the help is not in the physical realm, but in how you expand your own consciousness, in how you transcend the limitations of the body, and in how you open yourself to the eternal, non-material dimensions that connect all of life. In this understanding, we find that helping another is not confined to time or space. It is part of the ever-unfolding flow of existence, where all is interconnected and eternal.